interview was called Who's Got Those Top Jobs. I'm Devin.
I'm Jackie.
I'm Rachel.
Jack.
And I'm Connor.
So do any of you ever want to be an executive or a manager for a company someday? Okay, well today we're going to talk about how the traits of executives and managers of companies nowadays have changed since the past. But to start off, we're going to give you some terms that are useful, and then we're going to talk about trends in career trajectory and then trends in education.
First, I'd like to show you the terms to know because there are some interesting things in our article. A lifer, we talked about, was a person who devotes a lifetime to a profession, occupation, or pursuit. So someone who, spends all their time and their entire life working in this one career path. And then operational jobs are jobs or tasks consisting of one or more elements or subtasks performed typically in one location. So they just do some small tasks that contribute to one larger task.
So when you're looking at career trajectory and how they've changed throughout time, you look at the age, and there's a big difference in the past, between the past and now. And if you actually look at this, this shows average years to current job. And back in the 1980s, it was up higher, and then it went way down low in 2001, and then it's sort of gone up a little bit, but it's still lower. And that's just in years to job. And then when you look at age, that's gone down a lot in terms of executives that are higher up in companies. And this is because there are a lot fewer lifers, and Rachel just talks about lifers. Those are people who start their career in a company and work their way up. And that's because of the fact that companies are now hiring younger people from different companies to shoot up directly into executive spots. And Jack will actually give you an example of that on the next slide. And an interesting fact is that in 2011, 13 out of the top 100 companies in America actually had no lifers in their executive suite. And in general, employees nowadays spend less time at companies, and they tend to jump around a lot and try to, and this is because people try to get up as high as they can in a company as fast as they can, and if they don't like how they're doing at one company, they'll jump to another company.
Recently, we've seen that more women have held higher executive positions, especially in the retail and healthcare industry. A big example is Jill Hazel Baker, who started as a campaign spokesman for John McCain campaign in 2008, and then was hired to an executive position for Google in 2011. So we're seeing that women recently are starting to hold higher jobs now than they did in prior years. So.
And that's a great example of how people can go from one totally different job and not necessarily being the highest in their job and go to a different company and get hired right away. And Google's a very big company. She got hired as an executive straight out of McCain's campaign management.
Okay, so the other side of this trend that we're talking about today is education. So we're seeing more executives have higher levels of education, so this can go along with the amount of time they're spending getting educated. So a little statistic, in 2011, 65% of executives had MBAs, so they obviously spent more time getting educated. And also another trend is that more people are being educated outside of the U.S., so this may be the reason that people have higher levels of education because it's becoming more competitive. And then I think the most important thing that we took out of this article is that the definition of an elite university has changed. So in the past it was just Ivies, and then it ended up just being private, and now it's like big public schools to have put people in executive positions. And a little statistic is that 40% of 2011 executives had MBAs, and they came from a select 20 universities. And this isn't to say that it's just these 20 universities, but this list of 20 universities have the most executive workers. And so I think a few were University of Michigan, Cornell, like all the Ivies were on there, but Duke, Northwestern. So you can see that it's a diverse list rather than just a very standard type of school. And another trend is that executives have more elite MBAs, especially if it's someone like Jack's example that was hired outside of the company. So Google looked at this woman and she had an elite education. She had like a higher degree, and it's more likely that she's going to be taken outside of the company and put in a higher position because she had that education. And this is a little chart. So it first starts off comparing bachelor degrees, and you can see that it's not just Ivy Leagues on there. There's a huge percentage that are, the majority is private non-Ivy. But as you get more contemporary, you see that the MBA is being compared because that's more prominent in the workforce now. But still, there's a diverse percentage. It's not just Ivies up there.
So in conclusion, trends in both education and career trajectory have changed so that there's a more broad and diverse background to the executives that exist. So we hope after this knowledge you feel more confident and that you think your desire to become a manager is not completely out of reach.